How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode number 86 of Uncut, we're going to be discussing if the Bears' rushing attack can continue to prove strong through the stretch, especially in a tough battle coming up in Atlanta. Welcome back to the show, guys. I would like to say, if you are not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do us a favor and click that red button to subscribe. We are getting very, very close to 3,000 subscribers. The grind is on. We're putting out content every day, and you guys are liking it. And let's set a like goal on this video for 60 likes. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today I am joined with both of my co-hosts, Parth and Jaylen McClinton. How's it going, guys?
Doing pretty good. A lot of you guys like the new audio that we've implemented, so that's good. I think this new
It's
system,
only going to keep getting better when we get our
Exactly.
microphones too. So
Exactly. I think my voice comes out a lot better. It used to be a lot lower and worse, so it's perfect. And it'll, like Chris said, it'll get better. So let's keep doing it.
I'm doing good. Just getting prepared for week 3. I can't believe it's week 3 of the football season already, but yeah, that's about it.
yeah, so today we're here to talk about the Bears' rushing attack because it is something that has improved so much, basically night and day, since 2019. If you take a look at what the Bears did in week 1, they rushed for 149 yards against the Detroit Lions. David Montgomery was 64, Cohen with 41, and then week 2, another successful week in the run game for the Chicago Bears, adding on another 135 rushing yards. So the Bears are almost at 300 rushing yards through 2 weeks of the season. Parth, I want to start with you. Just generally off the bat, how much better is this run game in 2020?
100 times better. I mean, it's great to see Matt Nagy run the ball a lot more. I think with Juan Castillo coming into the team, this team has gotten a lot better at running the ball. The offensive linemen are doing much better at blocking for Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, Cordero Patterson. And then Matt Nagy's sticking to the run game. You know, the Bears used to shy away from the run game from long second downs, like last week against the Giants on 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 8. You'd see the Bears run the ball, which was something surprising, and it worked out really well for the Bears. Hopefully we keep it going. I think Mitch Trubisky needs a run game to help his play action out, just to help him feel more comfortable. We see David Montgomery taking that next step. He's out here breaking tackles despite all these injuries that he's suffered. And then Cordero Patterson looks great too. I think if we can get him out in more space and stuff, I think he'll be as deadly as possible. And then Tariq Cohen, yes, he struggled against the Giants, but week 1 I thought he did a pretty great job, and hopefully we can give him more touches as well.
I mean, you take a look at what the Bears have averaged in their first 2 games running the ball. 2,272 yards is what they're on pace for this season, with 142 rushing yards average per game. And I think that number can still improve. I mean, we see David Montgomery rushing the ball in week 2 against the New York Giants in the fourth quarter. And one may ask, why didn't they do that throughout the third quarter and even more in the first half, even though they were up 17-0 in the first half? But David Montgomery himself is playing incredible. 64 yards in the first game, 82 in the second. I believe on average he's rushing for 73 yards. And then I believe he's on pace for the entirety of the season to have 1,168 rushing yards. We have to talk about how important this offensive line is. James Daniels, Jermaine Fetty, and Cody Whitehair have done an incredible job. And then even the tackles in Bobby Massey and Charles Leno have been able to at least hold their own so far. So, Jaylen, do you like what you have seen so far out of this Bears rushing attack?
I love it. I don't think we had this good of a rushing attack in the first couple of games since like Jordan Howard's second year, when all John Fox did was run, pass, and that's back when we had a very predictable play calling. So I left out Nagy sticking to the run game. Like Parth said, it helps out Trubisky in his play action, which has been very key for Trubisky's success in these first couple of games. He's been very good on play action, setting his feet and throwing it over the middle to. Usually he does that to Darnell Mooney. So I'm happy about this run game. I want us to, give more snaps, or not more snaps, but give more carries to David Montgomery throughout the game. I know he got hurt in the first half, in the first half with the neck injury. He didn't start playing that many snaps until the second half. But over these next couple games, I want to see Nagy get David Montgomery more involved. Take some rushing carries and give them to David or Tariq. We didn't pay him for no reason. So that's about it. I want to see Tariq and David more involved in the run game more.
Yeah, so now focusing a little bit on week 3, it's evident that the entirety of the Atlanta Falcons offense has been on a hot streak recently. We talked about it yesterday in 3 key matchups. Matt Ryan has passed for 723 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2 weeks, and he's been averaging 362 passing yards and 3 touchdowns per game with an average passer rating of 110.7. We know how important it is going to be to keep him off the field on Sunday, and when he's on the field, he's going to have a lot of weapons to look at. Julio Jones has been dealing with a hamstring injury, but it looks like he'll be able to suit up. Calvin Ridley's going to be facing Jaylen Johnson. We saw a big week from Hayden Hurst last week. Todd Gurley has been okay, but he's been reliable. So it's evident that their entire offense has been really good recently. But if you look at their defense, they allowed 78 points in 2 games while allowing 5 rushing touchdowns throughout only 2 weeks. And they're at 0-2 for a reason. That defense hasn't been quite too reliable at all. So, Parth, I want to pass it back to you. We talked about how important and how effective the Bears' run game has been so far. Do you want them to not only continue that versus Atlanta, but maybe even rely on the run a little bit more, which is not something we normally see out of Matt Nagy? Parth.
Oh shit, my bad. I was muted.
Nah, just go. I can cut it out.
All right, bet. So personally, I would not mind it at all. I think David Montgomery should be getting 20 carries a game. The first 2 games, he's gotten a combined of 29 carries. So I think a good, solid 20 carry game for Montgomery would be great. I think he can reach 100 yards. I think he's proven it to us the first 2 games that he's got what it takes. And then same with Trubisky. I'd love to see Trubisky start running the ball a lot more against this Atlanta team. I think Dak Prescott had 3 rushing touchdowns, and I know Trubisky is more mobile than Dak Prescott. So if Trubisky can, find a way to start running the ball more, I think last week he had a tough time finding the holes when we designed some run plays. But I think against this Atlanta defense, which is somehow a lot weaker than the New York Giants defense, especially at stopping the run, I think we can find some holes and expose this defense.
I think in general, getting Trubisky to run the ball throughout the rest of the season is going to be important for the Bears. He wasn't that great in the first 2 weeks, at least as far as rushing goes. We only saw him run the ball a few times. But I think continuing to implement run-pass option packages is going to basically be a benefit for Trubisky. He's someone who, if you get him outside the pocket, not only is he more efficient as a passer, but he's also more efficient as a runner. Jaylen, we've seen this Atlanta defense give up 5 rushing touchdowns in just 2 weeks. How important is it that the Bears not only continue to implement their rushing attack in week 3 if they want a chance to win this one, but also, do you think they should even implement it more and possibly even rely on the run in week 3?
Yes, definitely. The run game can help open up the passing game. The Atlanta Falcons, like you said, give up 5 rushing touchdowns, but they also gave up also gave up 2 100-yard receivers. And Dak Prescott almost threw 500 yards against their secondary. So if we can rely on the run game and make them bite into the play action and give our receivers a opportunity to get open and Mitch hit them, this is going to be a very good game for us on offense, in my opinion. Probably said this a couple episodes that this could be our Bucks game from 2018. That Bucks game gave Trubisky a lot of confidence. It boosted his morale, boosted the whole team morale and stuff like that. So if we can open up this run game, rely on it, and use the play action and RPO and stuff like that, this game is going to be a very good game for us.
Jaylen mentioned it. If we throw back to September 30th of 2018, we remember Trubisky went 19 for 26, 354 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He also had 3 carries for 53 yards on the ground. That was quite some game back in 2018, in a year where the Bears went 12-4 and ended up winning the NFC North after Trubisky gained some confidence from that game. Finally, one thing I want to touch on before we close this one off, David Montgomery has had quite the hot start to the season, and I think we all agreed that he was going to probably have over 1,000 rushing yards this year if he could stay healthy. We've seen a ton of important running backs in the league go down to injury. Thus far, Raheem Mostert, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, amongst many more. But David Montgomery is on pace to break 1,000 rushing yards. In fact, end up with 1,258 to be exact based on his averages. So, Parth, I want to swing it back to you. He's been quite productive so far in this offense, and there's some that believe that he could even be relied on much more so. Do you think that it's a pretty easy conclusion? I mean, obviously, avoiding injury, that he will break 1,000 rushing yards in year two?
I do think so, especially with the way Matt Nagy's been running the ball. I think he will easily break 1,000 yards. I think a lot of people doubted David Montgomery coming into the season, especially in the division. A lot of folks said he's the worst running back in the division, which I never agreed with. I think Montgomery has what it takes to be a top 10 back in this league, and he's quietly proving it to the NFL right now. I don't think he's getting a lot of recognition on this offense. He might be the best player on this offense right now if we look at it. But yeah, I think he will easily break 1,000 yards and hopefully keep doing it for the Bears.
I mean, when it comes to the defenses the Bears have played so far, you could argue that there hasn't really been a tough task yet. You look at Detroit, they were okay. They got hobbled with a ton of injuries in the second half. Also, the New York Giants did have a good secondary, but they weren't too great either at stopping the run, and Atlanta's not going to be too much better than these first two teams, or at least I wouldn't hope so. But I do think if the offensive line can hold up, if the Bears can keep relying on the run, that David Montgomery will break 1,000 rushing yards. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, especially with how many injuries we've seen so far. I think a lot of those injuries are based on the lack of OTAs, the lack of a preseason, the lack of minicamp. But the Bears have, and knock on wood, avoided the injury bug so far. So if David Montgomery can stay healthy and a majority of this offensive line can stay healthy and continue to productively block for him, I do think David Montgomery will surpass 1,000 rushing yards and maybe even surpass 1,500 all-purpose yards. That would be quite the year two for him. Jaylen, what do you think? Does Montgomery reach 1,000 rushing yards this season?
Like you said, he's already on track to do it. He's had compared to last season, these two games are already better than what he did in the first two games of last season, where he was barely getting carries because he was splitting it between Mike Davis and obviously Tariq. So if Nagy can get him more involved, like I said before, he's a workhorse. He should be getting 20 carries a game at least for us. Especially with this improved offensive line, I'm happy Nagy is actually using the run game more. Actually, it was I think it was like second and 25 or something like that, and we gave it to David, and he mostly got all those yards back that we got from a stupid person who foul penalty on Fetty. So if we can continue to run the ball, consistently and gaining yards while doing it, David's easily going to get over 1,000 yards. And he
Yeah.
might have like 300, 400 yards in the receiving game too, something that we haven't got from our workhorse running back in a while because Jordan Howard really wasn't catching the ball out the back like that. So definitely.
Yeah, no kidding. I expect to see some improvements from Montgomery moving forward. I think this is the year two that we were all hoping for once again, as long as he can stay healthy. And you mentioned that first and 25 that the Bears had where David Montgomery chunked one for 23 yards. Juan Castillo has done a great job at, planning how this offensive line is blocking. They're opening up so many more holes. They're not picking and pulling as much as they used to. And David Montgomery and even Tariq Cohen and Cordero Patterson have been quite successful to start this season. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 86 of Uncut. If you want more content from us, you can head over to our website, beareddown.com. We're posting columns, articles, and blogs basically every other day on there right now, trying to get you guys as much week 3 coverage as possible. If you want to find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter, you can head over to @BearedDown on both platforms. We post a ton of sneak peeks of podcasts on both of those platforms, and we also sometimes occasionally do a giveaway, so you don't want to miss out on those. And finally, you can find the links to all of our social media fan pages down in the description. We're recording a ton. It feels good to be back on the grind, and it feels good to finally have some good audio. Meet the Opponents will come out tomorrow. We are recording with Malik Brown, a Sports Illustrated reporter for the Atlanta Falcons tonight, so be sure to look out for that one tomorrow. But this is only the first time we're recording today. We've probably got 1 or 2 more recording sessions to go. Parth, Jaylen McClinton, it's been a pleasure, and it always is. Any last words?
Let's beat these Falcons this week. I think it's the toughest team we're facing so far. They put up a lot of points. The defense has to do its job, and so does the offense by putting up as many as points as the Falcons do. I think we can do it. I think we are actually not the favorites. I think the Falcons are actually the favorites going into this game. So let's prove the doubters wrong again.
Yeah. Let's go beat the Falcons, going 3-0, and go play the Colts, which is probably the hardest opponent we have.
Don't get too far ahead of yourself.
I'm just I still can't believe we have football season, but that's about it. Shout out to Tariq. Tariq just said he left money on the table to extend Allen Robinson, so that's an amazing teammate right there. But that's about it. Bear down.
Yeah, shout out Tariq. And on my last point, I'm just going to say pound the rock. I think everyone's been impressed about how the Bears have run the ball thus far, and they've got to keep it up. Matt Nagy has been a coach in the past who has gotten conservative, has tried to rely on his little dip and dunk passes, but if you pound the rock, especially against a team like Atlanta that has allowed 5 rushing touchdowns, the Bears are going to give themselves quite a chance to win this game if their defense can hold up, and obviously if the Bears can convert in the red zone. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and showing so much support recently. The grind to 3,000 subscribers is still on. Bears fans, do us a favor, as always. Stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.